Hey, good evening. I'm really happy to have you here. My name is Daniel. I was a professional opera singer and beatboxer, and tonight we're going to be listening to more Erik Grönwall. I'm so excited for this. And we're going to be listening to Tears in Heaven. So, this was a request from Christy Muck over on my Patreon. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to jump into this, obviously. But if you guys would like to submit any personal requests of your own, I will absolutely do my best to get to them, and I will always prioritize Patreon requests first and foremost. So, Christy, again, thank you so much for that. So, with all of that said, it has been a hot second since we've jumped into Erik, and even though it hasn't been too long, I want to get back into the groove. I'm obviously thrilled to be able to jump into more of his music. I was told that I needed to bring tissues for this one, but we'll see how I am after the first run through of it, and if I need to grab any for the analysis. But we'll see. So I'm ready. I hope you guys are as well. So without any further delay, let's jump into it.
Would you know my name?
Ooh, chills.
If I saw you in heaven, would it be the same? If I saw you in heaven, I must be strong
Ooh, that break.
and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven. Would you hold my hand if I saw you in heaven? Would you help me stand
Ugh.
if I saw you in heaven? I'd find my way through night and day, 'cause I know I just can't stay here in heaven. Time can bring you down, time can bend your knees.
Ugh.
Time can break your heart, have you begging please,
Yeah.
begging please.
Ugh. Yeah.
Beyond the door, there's peace, I'm sure, and I know there'll be no more tears in heaven. Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? I don't belong here in heaven. Here in heaven.
Being honest here, I really wasn't expecting this kind of music to come out of Erik here, which not only expresses a certain level of broad range in his musical styles and repertoire, but more tells me that he's a musician that can perform any kind of music he wants. And he decides to perform this. And I don't know the whole backstory, whether he was paid or not to do it, but knowing the kind of person he is, at least from what all of you have described to me in the comments, he really doesn't seem like the kind of person that would just perform this type of music just because he was paid to do it. There has to be a real want to do this, especially with the level of tenderness that he gave this piece. And something I really do enjoy about this piece, just generally, is just the fact that because of his natural accent and where he places his voice when he sings, there's a very unique twang to the piece, and there's a certain coarseness, a certain rawness that comes through powerfully throughout the entirety of the piece. He paces it very well in the sense that we start small, we grow in dynamic, we don't lose control, but we emphasize this growth, and we just maintain this ebb and flow in dynamic, and then come back and recapitulate the beginning, but keep it very soft and let it fade. It's very lovely, it's very expertly executed. It's just so dazzling being able to hear someone who I know is capable of producing extremely powerful sound and utilizes a lot of strength in particular genres of music that aren't so tender like this. But just the fact that he's able to exist in this realm and express this kind of music very beautifully, still maintaining a lot of his strengths from those other genres and transferring them here in a completely new genre beyond just screaming or metal or rock. It really is something just very special, and I really dig that. So there are a lot of elements that I really want to jump into in the analysis, so let's just jump into it. Yeah.
Won't you know my name if I saw you in heaven?
Yeah, yes, I love that entire opening section with both the piano and Erik's voice. And the reason I do is because you immediately start with a powerful percussive hit on the piano. Bah, yeah, love that. And immediately grows into this tenderness. And Erik's voice actually does reflect a very similar idea that's being expressed already in the piano. Not in terms of having a very powerful, loud note and then rescinding, but more in the idea that he's using a glottal instead of coming into something on a silent H, in comparison to using a glottal, which would be oh. So just the fact that Erik's voice can match that piano's energy, and you just immediately know how in sync the instruments are with Erik in terms of how the vibe, how the aesthetic of the piece is going to go. Just within these first few cadences here, it's just wonderful, man. I love that.
Won't you know my name if I saw you
Yeah.
in heaven? Would it be the same?
And just his ability to go into his head voice here, it's so smooth. So for those that don't know, there's something called a passaggio, and a person's passaggio is the break in their voice. So in my voice and in most male voices, you'll have That break is where the passaggio is. So for Erik to very gently play around that area, and my voice is very low in comparison to his, so I have a much more difficult time being able to express these notes specifically in this particular context. But just the level of skill it takes to be this tender, especially since this is not his bread and butter style of music. So for him to be able to express this tenderness so rawly, but still maintain an enormous level of vocal control and breath support, it really is something special because he's right in the center of the pitch. He is doing exactly what he wants to do and how he wants to express it. It's just wonderful.
If I saw you in heaven, I must be strong.
Oh, that break.
And carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong.
And just the cracks in his voice between the break and the cracks. It just feels like a lament, and it's just so powerful. But even going beyond the lament, just this feeling of longing or undeservingness or whatever it is that he's feeling, all of these very complex emotions just kind of coalescing into this beautiful, heartfelt performance, blossoming in this rawness, this arena of rawness. It's just...
Here in heaven, would you hold my hand?
Yeah, having a little bit more of that intense dynamic there. Love that, especially in the start of the new verse.
Would you hold my hand?
Oh,
If I saw you in heaven,
nice stacking of voices there. I want to hear that again.
if I saw you in heaven,
Yeah.
would you help me stay? If I saw you in heaven.
Oh, something I just realized is just the fact that in this particular verse, he's not just floating up in his falsetto or in his head voice here. He's actually belting it a little bit more, which pairs very nicely with the stronger, louder dynamic. So that's a really excellent choice there. And I just noticed that that's, great choice.
If I saw you in heaven,
Yeah.
I'd find my way through night and day, 'cause I know I just can't stay
Yeah.
here in heaven.
Yeah, and when I was referring to earlier into the post-reaction analysis, let's say, just the placement of his voice. It's not quite nasal but he is placing all of that sound right dead center in the middle of his mask, having his natural accent just bleed through, and it's just gorgeous, dude. It's everything you want to hear from a musician, which isn't a copy of another musician. It's just him and his uniqueness as a lone individual. And this is what makes lone individuals great artists. This is what makes bands great bands, which is just the fact that they're able to separate themselves and make themselves very unique, very distinct in their own sound, their own flair, what it is that they want to express through their music or through whatever art form they choose to use as their medium. It's wonderful.
Here in heaven. Time can bring you down, time can bend your knees. Time can break your heart. Have you been
that harmonica solo perfectly sums up the entire aesthetic of this piece, which is the air that was being blown during some of the sustained notes. There were a couple of tubes that were taking in some of that air, so it wasn't just a single note, it was a little chorus. It was still the exact note, but it was another note being added into it, creating that nice harmonica feel that we've all come to really know. And there wasn't a lot of vibrato, it wasn't perfectly refined. It was more straight toned, and just the fact that there's this coarseness that comes through that. So instead of just having this beautiful, long, flowing vibrato that it just transcends all music and all people, we just get this very human, very raw, beautiful connection with him through that harmonica solo. And I love that. I think that's a brilliant addition to the piece. Brilliant. I want to hear it again. I'm sorry. I know this might not be everybody's favorite section, but I love it. Oh. Chills. Beautiful.
There's peace, I'm sure, and I know there'll be no more.
Oh, his vibrato here is gorgeous. And I know. Oh, dude, it's just how he breaks his voice after the vibrato. It's just so seamless, but not in terms of the music itself. It still has that coarse, raw feeling to it. But in terms of how he chooses to express the music and what his intentions are, that is seamless. And it's exactly what I want to feel in this kind of music. This is exactly what I want to feel. Ugh.
And I know there'll be no more tears in heaven. Would you know my name?
Oh my gosh.
If I saw you in heaven, would it be the same? If I saw you in heaven,
Yeah.
I must be strong.
Oh my gosh.
I must be strong.
And just the irony of saying strong with so much break in the voice. Brilliant.
I must be strong.
Yeah. But you feel it, the power.
Carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven.
Oh, chills.
Here in heaven.
It's just lovely from beginning to end. The piano, the voices, the slight amounts of layering, and between the piano, the voices, the layering, the emotional impact this piece has. It's just moving, profound, touching. It's such a human experience. And this is probably my strongest driving force as to why I love music so much and why I connect to music so much. Is because in real life, I'm pretty awkward. Not so awkward to the point where people feel really uncomfortable, but I do work really hard to try to be more affable, more gregarious. But with that being said, I really, really do love humanity And I love being able to experience human connections and human emotions. I know that sounds really bizarre, like I'm some kind of alien or something, but it's more just in the sense that if any of you have ever been in a bonfire surrounded by friends, or even people that you don't know, or have been in a jam session with random strangers or people you know or whoever, or have just been in a cafe and met someone great, or been on an airplane and met someone great, and you just share something really powerful in that moment with people, but especially in group settings where you can just really experience the beauty of what everybody has to offer, not being divided by religion or politics or personal senses of value and whatever you derive that from. It's more just in this idea where you don't discredit anybody's values or anybody's religion or politics or whatever, but it's more just being able to experience a truly beautiful moment with someone else, and both of you recognizing the absolute profound beauty of that experience. And no one can ever take that away from you. Even if that person does something later on in life that really hurts you or wounds you, you can always look back on this memory and say, regardless of what this person did to me or did to others, I can at least look at it through the lens that we shared something truly beautiful. And I adore those moments deeply. I remember when I was coming back from Germany, I met a really wonderful woman there, and she was roughly my age at the time. I want to say in my early mid 20s. And we were coming back from Germany to the US, and she was coming to the US to travel and to experience the US. And it was a really wonderful experience for her. She's pretty much travels like a nomad, and I'm to a certain degree pretty envious of that lifestyle, but I'm going on a side tangent too long. But anyway, on the plane ride back, which was a 13-hour flight, we were just talking. We were just sitting next to each other, and we just said, "Hi, how you doing?" And we were just talking. And for 13 hours, we just kept talking. And when she eventually came to my neck of the woods, I showed her around town. We got out, we grabbed a bite. We watched the movie 300. Not like it was my recommendation, even though it's a fun movie and I really do enjoy it. She just wanted to see it, and I thought that was awesome. And we just had a great time, and we really enjoyed each other's company. And for the record, nothing romantic came out of that, but it was just a real beautiful experience, meeting a random person, enjoying each other's company, going on adventures and questing together. It was just a really remarkable experience, and I'll never forget that. And I've had plenty of other experiences to stack on top of those types of experiences, which just goes to show that if you really want to make the effort, there's so many opportunities for real beautiful things to happen in this world. And you can make those moments happen just by exposing yourself to them and allowing yourself to not get crushed from the anxieties of the world by the confrontation of the world, but rather just saying, I'm strong enough, I know who I am, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm not going to let the world cow me into a submissive box. I'm going to experience the world, view the world as a playground in some key senses, and just being able to enjoy everything. And I think music does an extremely exceptional job at expressing that kind of human condition, that human connection we so long for. And Erik just does a really great job of expressing that thought. So Erik, great job, brother. I really enjoyed this, and I'm really excited to hear more of your stuff, man. This was awesome. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you all liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you didn't like it, please leave a dislike and let me know why in the comments. I do read all of the comments, even if I may not have to reply to them, so please know your comments do not go unnoticed. I want to take this time to appreciate all of you for being here. It really does mean a lot to me, so thank you so much. And I can't wait to see all of you in the next video. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.